Mr. Kyren Lacy, man. Very sad story. Very, very sad and unfortunate story. What happened to this young man? I've been analyzing and watching football players, especially the wide receiver and quarterback position. That's my two favorite positions. And I've been analyzing those players. I'm talking about all the way down to high school. Now I do it all the way to middle school now, but high school, college, and the NFL. And majority of times I can see in high school if these players gonna make it and be successful in the NFL. Most of the time I'm right, sometimes I'm not. But watching this young man play at UL, University of Louisiana Lafayette, then he got in the transfer portal and went to LSU, 6'2". He had the size, he had the hands, he had the vision. He had great route running. Not to mention LSU is wide receiver U. This man was going to be great in the NFL. This man was going to be great. But his life was cut short. And I want to speak about that in this video. I heard a lot of this. I've been keeping up with this situation since the beginning of it. I really didn't say nothing about it because I was trying to wait and get all of the facts. And I said to me, some of my groups and my personal friend, we spoke about it and pretty much seemed like an open and shut situation where he was involved or he was basically the cause of an accident. And, and that went down a rabbit hole. And next thing uh, he nothing happened to him about it, like because he had already left college and declared for the draft. But I believe something happened where he wasn't invited to the draft because this guy was supposed to be a first round talent, and first round draft picks they actually get invited to the draft. So I think he was invited to the draft, and that affected him from getting invited or something like that. But it wasn't going to affect him from going to the NFL because you know a lot of off the field issues can stop you from going to the NFL or hurt your draft stock. But when you good as he is, they'll overlook some things and they'll say, well, he was a kid, he's young. Can we develop him and not only a better receiver, but a better man? And that's what the NFL is all about. You have a team of people. It's not just your players. You have veteran players. You have coaches. You have all kind of people on the staff. You have everything when you make it to the professional level, even the college level, especially when you're playing for LSU. But when you make it to the NFL, you have everybody that you need in your circle to help you develop. It still sometimes don't work for people because they have a lot of character flaws, a lot of spiritual issues, a lot of trauma that has to be taken care of by only one person can fix those issues, and that's God himself. But you got to seek him, you know what I'm saying? But that's another story for another day. Like I say, man, people overlook certain things, but like I say, he still was going to get drafted. But I want to say a day or two before the situation, the case was actually supposed to go to the grand jury or whatever, he ended up committing suicide. So it was said, so everybody was up in arms about that. And it came out that it was painted across all social media platforms. And a lot of people, even until they hear this video and I show them proof, they thought that he committed suicide because he was under so much stress from being falsely accused of an accident which resulted in somebody losing their life, which resulted in him getting a negligent homicide case, that was too much pressure for a young man and he took his own life. Now, having something like that over your head, especially knowing that you innocent, and I don't know if he thought he was innocent. I'm gonna get into that with a statement from his lawyer. But I don't know where his head was for that. Like, man, I might actually get convicted of this. My career, he knew his career wasn't over because, again, when you in the position that he already had an agent, he already had everything lined up. So I'm sure it was people, because these type of situations have happened before with players, and they still was able to make it to the league. I forgot that dude's name, man. What his name was, Lyle Collins. I want to say I might be pronouncing his name wrong. was it? It was him or Laramie Thompson. One of those players, man. They was supposed to go in the first round. I think they ended up dropping, but they still went in the first round. They still a great player. They still in the league today. It was a situation kind of similar to that where an accident happened or whatever. But like I say, when you such a great player, certain things people are overlooked because once you get to that professional level, these people feel like they can help. You know what I'm saying? Not just you be a better player, you be a better person. And so I don't know if he had the pressure of all that building on him and, you know, he just was stressed out. But with a story that is kind of like, and it's so crazy because it's just a temple. All you got to do is just do a little research, just not even no research, just do a simple type, and you'll find it out, the real situation that nobody ever heard. I never heard. But before we get into that, I want to play a few videos. I want to let his lawyer speak. And of course, everybody know that because he has been exonerated. Well, I haven't heard a statement from LaFouche Parish where it happened at, but his lawyer is saying that he's innocent and they showing footage that he had nothing to do with the wreck. And like I say, I want to get into that because that's a very important thing. But without further ado, let's listen to his lawyer speak, and I'm gonna show y'all something what his lawyer said. Let's get into it.
You'll see Kyren Lacy come to stop. So now,
before I let this play, his lawyer right here, I think his name is Matt Orr, his name right there. His lawyer is speaking on this, and his lawyer is gonna say something. And see, let me say something. When you're dealing with lawyers, especially seasoned lawyers that been doing this for a while, they know that everything you say can hurt or help you. So I don't know if he said this to hurt him or to help him. He spoke at his funeral. He almost came close to tears in this interview. I don't really know because I don't, you know what I'm saying? This is just a whole weird, eerie situation. And the reason what made me say that is not from what he's going to say, but also from when I did this simple Google search and what came up, it was just, why hasn't nobody said anything about that? But like I said, I want to let him speak. And when he say what he's going to say, I'm going to pause it and we're going to react to that. Let's go.
You'll see Kyren Lacy come to stop. So as we've seen the video, it looks like the impact happens and then Kyren Lacy is behind him. How far away was he from there? Well, yeah, that's the beauty of the investigative report that I now have my hands on. We know from data that Kyren Lacy did in fact pass 4 cars. There's no disputing that.
Okay, this is the part that I want to pause on. That was very crucial in what he said. He said that he know from data that Kyren Lacy passed up 4 cars. So you know when you're in traffic and you're in one of those lanes, you're in one of those streets, or not a highway, because you can do that on the highway. When you're on a street or any type of road or anything like that, you can't do that. But what people will do is sometimes when people's behind them when people in front of them going too slow, what they'll do is they'll get in the other lane that oncoming traffic is in, and they'll speed up to get past the other people in their lane. I've never did that. It's extremely dangerous. I've seen, not in person, like not in real life, but you know, I watch things on YouTube, all kind of crazy stuff like weird crashes, and I've seen people getting crashed like that, even have head-on collisions with 18-wheelers, because when you do that, if it's very seldom that will happen, but you can actually get trapped. Like if you get in that other lane trying to skip these other cars in your lane, what if somebody's coming your way fast or just coming your way in natural speed and you can't get over? So now it's very dangerous. And like I say, the 18-wheelers, they can stop abruptly, but they can't stop abruptly, if that makes any sense. If you can understand what I'm saying. These things, they stop, but it's so much weight come behind them. If they stop abruptly, they got to come to like a slow stop. And if they don't, they cost still. It's kind of like that trailer is going. And I've seen situations like, so I've never did. I don't care if they got a grandmother in front of me and the speed limit is 60 and she's going 10 miles an hour. I'm going to wait. I don't do that. That's very extremely dangerous. Now, and so by him skipping those 4 cars, what people have to understand is Him speeding on side of those other four cars could have potentially, I'm not saying it did, and you gotta understand, if you drive, you know this. It's kind of like, I don't know how I can word it, but it's kind of like when somebody does that, it makes you kind of want to rush. If they do that behind you, it even if you don't really do it, you just find yourself going a little fast because you're like, why are they doing this? And so this could have caused that person who did that to kind of like, because he in a Hellcat. These cars are extremely fast. The pedals is like hairpin. You barely touch it and it goes. So he's in his Hellcat, never know what's on his mind. He's because he might be, like I say, he could have been under immense pressure. I'm sure he was dealing with this other well at that time the wreck happened, so he wasn't under no pressure at that time. At this time, he just living his life. He's in the best place in his life. He just declared for the draft. He's probably about to go in the first round, which if you go in the first round, you're going to make upwards of a $50 million contract. Half of that going to be given to you the day you sign, fully guaranteed contract. And by the time he get re-signed, which would have been in 2030, he probably would have got $200 million. Because those receivers that's going to be signing a new contract 5 years from now, these receivers going to be getting at least $200 million. 50 annually, because right now good receivers are making 140, 130 million for 4 years, right? All his alumni, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, these dudes got $100 and some million contract. Receivers making good money, 35 annually, right? So he was his whole life was ahead of him. And so he coming behind these cars and he speeds up, and that could have forced these other people that was in that lane to kind of move up, not paying attention to what they doing, threw them off, and that's what made them end up hitting these other people. That could have happened, but we don't know, and it's not good to speculate. But by him saying that, oh man, we know by data that he did pass up for a car. There's no disputing that. That's kind of crazy, but I'm gonna let him continue.
Further north, Kyren Lacy passed 4 cars. However, he was back in his lane of travel, 92.3 yards. Back in his lane.
And again, I have to say this. See, when you do that, you mess up the whole vibe of the traffic lane. When you do that, you mess up the whole. And I know people not gonna want to admit it because I understand I understand what they trying to do with this. I get it, and that's really what made me make this video, because I understand where they trying to take this. They trying to take this all the way somewhere else, but that's really what made me make this video. And it wasn't what it was, because there's a whole piece of this that we didn't know, and one of those pieces was just said he passed 4 lane, but he got back in his lane. But when you do that, you still mess up a whole. This is why it's illegal. This is why if a cop see you doing it, you'll get a ticket. It messes up the whole vibe of that lane of traffic, and it could cause someone else to get in an accident. Which in this case, not saying he caused it, but an accident happened and somebody lost their life. But let's let him finish.
Behind Mr. Hall, at the time of impact, he's 72.6 yards behind the vehicles at the time of impact. Keyword, behind the vehicles. That is not how this story was ever painted.
So I want to go back, because I did a lot of talking to it. I want to let y'all watch it all without me pausing it.
You'll see Kyren Lacy come to a stop. So as we've seen the video, it looks like the impact happens and then Kyren Lacy is behind him. How far away was he from there? Well, yeah, that's the beauty of the investigative report that I now have my hands on. We know from data that Kyren Lacy did in fact pass 4 cars. There's no disputing that. Further north, Kyren Lacy passed 4 cars. However, he was back in his lane of travel, 92.3 yards. Back in his lane, behind Mr. Hall. At the time of impact, he's 72.6 yards behind the vehicles at the time of impact. Keyword, behind the vehicles. That is not how this story was ever painted.
Okay, let's go to this next video, and this is one of the main reasons why I made this video. But it's not the only reason, because I'm going to show y'all my proof of a piece of this story that never gotten out, which begs me to believe, why did he commit suicide? Was it because of the pressure of this, or was it because of what I'm going to show y'all? But before I get into that, let's play this next video, which is what they trying to do, and I don't like that. This whole, this was racist. Now, this had nothing to do with that. But let's continue.
This is America. Don't catch you slipping now.
Look at this again. We're going to watch it again. Kyren not alive or cut it off. When white people lie, black people die. Now, the trooper that accused him of being the reason for this crash, again, they had this footage before anybody had it. And he, I don't believe, said he eyewitnessed that, because that would have been impossible. They got, I say this in a lot of my videos, everything is surveilled now. Like on regular streets, buildings, everything sees so it's always surveillance, bro. So that officer who is being demonized, now maybe he deserved demonization. I don't know yet. But as of right now, let's not jump to conclusions, because we don't know if he had evidence that we didn't have, because we heard his lawyer just say he did pass up 4 cars, right? Which again can cause the whole lane of traffic that you do that to, and it can put it in disorder. And accidents happen when disorder happens on the road, right? That's why they tell people all the time, when you driving, you can't just drive for yourself. You got to drive for everybody on the road. You know why? Because one mistake can cause you or another person. It's that simple. It can happen that fast. And if you just call yourself, I'm just going to drive for me today, you could get in an accident because of somebody else. In this case, decide to get out of the lane because they didn't have patience or they was in a rush, whatever the case may be. And so maybe that officer was a person who just was a hater and he jealous or whatever his case issue may be, and he wanted to frame Kyren Lacy. Or maybe he had footage that seen something that we didn't all see. However, I digress. So we're going to play this last video, right? And this last video, as a matter of fact, let me go to the situation what I'm talking about. Let's go to that. Because see, this is a part that wasn't told. This was a part that wasn't told, that never came out. And like I said, it begs me to the question of, did Kyren Lacy kill himself because of the pressure he was under because of this case? And he knew that he caused that accident and he knew he was going to get caught up? Because nobody knows what he know, because he was there. So did he have it on his mind like, man, I should have never got out of that traffic and I caused this to happen? Was it because of that? Was it because he was being falsely accused and he knew he was being falsely accused for something that he didn't do? And because he probably been brainwashed and taught to believe that, hey, man, if you're black, you can't beat the system. And because he knew that, he said, well, I'm going to jail, and he couldn't take it to that. Or was it because of this very important piece that never have been said, never came out, nobody never heard or talked about? Let's go to it. Let's look at these highlights though before I go to it. This man was this man was gonna be something serious in that league, bro. Look at that. He have all the intent. He have all the qualities of a number 1 receiver. At best, number 2 in the league. This man was a great player, man. And it's so sad that he took that all of this foolishness or whatever happened resulted in him taking his life. But let's go to the key component. Let's go to this. Let's do this. So this is something nobody talked about. This is something nobody talked about. Kyren Lacy. We Googling his name. Let's see what comes up. Kyren Pierre, Mr. Pierre Lacy. Like that name, Pierre. He died in Houston. So let's go to this. Let's go right here where it says death. This, what I'm about to read y'all, is very important. This never was spoke about. This never was said. Nobody, this, when I seen this, I was like, well, why this never came out? So the question is, why did he kill himself? Was it because of what I said, what we already talked about? Or was it because of this situation? 2 days before a scheduled grand jury hearing related to the December 2024 car crash, Lacy got into a verbal argument with a family member, and Lacy fired a gun into the ground before fleeing the scene. A vehicle pursuit with the police occurred, lasting several miles, and ended when Lacy's vehicle crashed. Lacy was found dead in his car, appearing to have died by suicide by a firearm prior to the crash, as both the body camera and dash camera revealed no shots were fired after the pursuit ended. So in other words, he killed himself and crashed. So did he kill himself because of everything we already talked about in this video? Or did he kill himself because he was just had fired a gun at a family member toward the family member, hit the ground, and he was on a police chase and didn't want to go to jail or didn't want to deal with whatever he was going to have to deal with, and said, you know what, with everything already mounted against me, plus this, I'm not getting out of this, so let me just go ahead on and end it here. Why we wasn't never told about this situation that I just read to y'all? Don't you find that kind of eerie? Don't you find that kind of strange? But I'm going to let y'all think what y'all want to think, because we know that people going to believe what they want to believe. But I want y'all to take this situation and do with it whatever y'all may. But y'all got all of the facts now. Nobody else gave it to y'all. I did. Your boy Vernon out of here. Use y'all heads, man. Think for y'allself, man. And you may say, well, it's not that serious. Not our business. And I understand that. But if you're going to be on social media making comments and making assumptions and insinuating certain things, make sure you have all the facts. Now, you take this and do with it what you want. I'm out of here.